Space was quiet. It always had been. Ships moved between planets, carrying people and goods, but the stars themselves never made a sound. It was in this silence that a strange ship arrived near Earth. No one saw it coming. No one heard it arrive. It simply appeared, floating just beyond the reach of Earth's satellites. The ship was old. Its hull was covered in scratches and burns. Parts of it looked broken, yet it stayed together as if it refused to fall apart. The Earth Space Control Station noticed the ship on a routine scan. At first, they thought it was debris. But when the scan showed a human-made structure, alarms were raised. Commander Rico, a tall woman with sharp eyes, was the first to respond. She looked at the screen, then looked again. The ship had no name, no signal, and no known registration in Earth's records. "Where did it come from?" Rico asked. "No clue," said the technician beside her. "It just showed up. No warp signature, no engine trail, nothing." "Send a greeting message," Rico said. The message went out in every known Earth language. No reply came. The ship just floated, silent and still. Soon more experts arrived. Scientists, military officers, and historians gathered to study the vessel. A small team was sent in. They wore suits and carried scanners, unsure of what they would find. As they entered the ship, they noticed how cold it was. Lights flickered weakly. The air was thin. It looked like no one had walked its halls in a very long time. Inside the ship were stasis pods. Most were empty. A few still held bodies. Long, since passed away. The walls had markings carved into them. Lines, names, numbers, and maps. Strange old symbols no longer used on Earth. Some writings were in early space explorer language. Others were in codes that hadn't been seen in centuries. In the control room, the team found the ship's black box, a device that recorded everything. It was dusty, but still active. One of the engineers, a young man named Zill, powered it up. A message began to play. It was in a deep, tired voice. "We are the sons of Earth. We were sent to explore. We were sent to find new worlds. We never found peace. We found war." The message repeated. It played again and again. The same voice, calm, but filled with pain. "We were sent to explore. We were sent to find new worlds. We never found peace. We found war." The team returned to Earth with the black box. Experts began decoding the message fully. More data was hidden inside. Logs, recordings, flight paths. A name appeared. Fleet A-17, the Sons of Earth. It was an old name. Most people had never heard of it, but the historians knew a long time ago before Earth became part of the Interstellar Council. The planet had sent many ships into deep space. These ships carried brave people, explorers who wanted to find new homes for humanity. Some returned with stories. Others never came back. Fleet A-17 had been one of the most important. It had carried over 200 people, including families, scientists, and soldiers. They had left Earth nearly 300 years ago. No one ever heard from them again. Earth had thought they were lost, killed by space storms or mechanical failures. Time passed, and their names faded from memory. But now, one of their ships had returned, and it brought with it silence and mystery. The news spread across Earth quickly. People were curious. Some were afraid. Who brought the ship back? What happened to the rest of the fleet? Why now? There were no answers. Only the silent message from the black box and the scars on the ship's body. In the following weeks, scientists studied the ship in detail. They found signs of battles, laser burns, hull patches, strange alien markings that didn't match any known species. Something had attacked the fleet. Something had hunted them. More logs were decoded. Names of planets the fleet had visited appeared. Some of them were not on any star charts. Some had been destroyed. Others had strange warnings next to them. One log read, "Do not land. They are beneath the soil." Another said, "We warned the others. No one listened. We fought alone." These messages sent chills through everyone who read them. The suns of Earth had not been lost by accident. They had been in a war that no one on Earth had known about. A war that still might be happening. The Council of Species, which ruled the known part of the galaxy, was informed. Earth's ambassadors presented the findings. But the Council responded coldly. They said the logs were too old to trust. They warned Earth not to spread panic. They called it a ghost story from the past. But Earth's leaders were not so sure. They had seen the damage. They had heard the tired voice. And they had read the names. Names of heroes who were never honored, who died far from home, alone in the dark. One name appeared many times. Captain Bryn. He was the leader of the fleet. His final words in the last log said, "We do not ask for rescue. We ask for memory. Remember us, Earth. Remember we fought, and we will keep fighting, even in silence." The message ended, and silence returned. But it was not the same. Now it carried a weight, a warning, a promise. The sons of Earth had returned, not with noise, but with truth. They had returned in silence, and that silence was louder than any weapon. Earth was no longer alone in the galaxy, but it was time to ask, who were its real allies? And what had the forgotten fleet truly found out there beyond the stars? The silent ship was moved to a secure research base on Earth's moon. Scientists and historians worked day and night, studying the ship's data and structure. They named it Hope Walker, a name found scratched on the inside of the bridge wall. No one knew who had written it, but the message was clear. The ones who had traveled so far had not given up hope, even in the darkest places. One room on the ship remained locked. The entry system used a very old code format. Earth engineers finally cracked it. Inside, they found something strange. It was not a weapon or engine. It was a small wall filled with photographs, real paper photographs, faded, but still visible. There were faces, men, women, even children. Under each photo was a name. Some wore uniforms, some wore lab coats, others wore simple clothes. These were the people of the fleet, the sons of Earth. In the corner of the room, there was a chair. A figure sat there. A suit covered the body, sealed tight. The figure had been there for many years. No signs of life, no movement, just silence. But on the chest of the suit was a badge with one word: Bryn. Captain Bryn had never left the ship. A small device was found beside him. It activated when touched. A final recording played in a soft voice. "If you find this, then we are truly gone. We stayed behind to protect the path. We watched and waited. Not for rescue, but for remembrance. The threat is not over. Be ready. Those words shook the researchers. Earth's leaders listened in silence. The questions grew heavier. What threat had he meant? Was it still out there? And why had no one ever seen it? The research teams continued, digging through the ship's memory systems. They found more logs, not just reports, but messages to families, letters never sent. In one of them, a young officer wrote, "We found a world full of light, but under the surface, there was movement. We thought they were just animals. We were wrong. They took us one by one, quiet, fast, like shadows with minds. We ran, we fought, we lost many, we burned the sky to escape." Other logs told of strange ships that followed them, silent crafts with no signals, no windows, just cold metal and quiet engines. The fleet tried to make contact. No answers came. Then attacks began. Short, sudden strikes. No survivors left behind. The logs spoke of entire colonies wiped out in days. The fleet had warned other human ships, but no help came. No message was ever returned. One log stood out. It was recorded by a scientist named Lauren. "They are not just hunters. They are watchers. They study us. They learn fast. Every time we fight, they return stronger. But they never speak. They only watch. And when we become a threat, they remove us." Lauren's voice shook during the recording. She looked into the camera, eyes wide with fear. "We thought space would be full of wonders, but it is full of eyes, watching, waiting." The leaders of Earth debated in secret. Some wanted to tell the people, others feared panic. In the end, they decided to keep it quiet for now. But one thing was clear to them. The galaxy was not as peaceful as it seemed. At the same time, Earth's ambassadors met with the Council of Species. The Council was made of many alien races, old and wise. Earth had joined the Council only 50 years ago. They had little power and few allies. Still, they presented the findings, the recordings, the warnings. The Council listened, but their response was cold. "These are old stories," one member said. "Ghosts from a past long forgotten." Another added, "Many fleets have vanished in deep space. The universe is dangerous. This is not news." Earth's lead ambassador, a quiet man named Tommel, replied calmly, "The logs are clear. Our people fought something real. They died alone. You speak of peace, but you ignore what hunts in the dark." The Council offered polite words, but took no action. After the meeting, Tommel noticed something strange. A few Council members avoided his eyes. One of them, an elder from a distant world, whispered a warning before leaving. "Not all stories are lies. Be careful who listens when you speak truth." Tommel returned to Earth with a heavy heart. He met with Earth's leaders and shared what he had seen. Their fear was not from the unknown threat, but from the silence of the Council. If others knew about this danger, why had they hidden it? Why had they let Earth send explorers into the dark? Meanwhile, more was discovered on the Hope Walker. Hidden in its systems was a map, hand-drawn, not digital. It showed a path through unknown space, stars with symbols beside them, some marked as safe, others marked with a red line. At the center of the map was a symbol no one understood, a circle surrounded by smaller dots. Under it, a message written in human language. They never stopped watching. They never left. Zill, the engineer, who first found the black box, became obsessed with the map. He spent hours comparing it with modern star charts. Many of the systems on the map were now empty. Colonies that failed, ships that disappeared. The map was not just a warning. It was a history, a path of loss and silence. One night, Zill stood on the lunar base balcony looking at Earth below. "They died out there," he said softly. "And they watched. Not just the enemy, but our own people. They gave everything. And we forgot them." His words were heard by Commander Rico, who stood behind him. "Not anymore?" she said. "Now we remember, and we prepare." Back on Earth, a quiet decision was made. If the threat was real, then Earth would not wait for another fleet to vanish. They would watch the stars. They would rebuild their defenses, and they would never forget the sons of Earth again. The Hope Walker was placed in a museum, but the room with the photos and the chair was left untouched. Visitors came and stood in silence before the wall of faces. Some wept, some stood still. All of them felt the same thing, a quiet promise. The watchers in the dark may still be out there, but Earth now watched back. The Council of Species met again in a great silver chamber above a blue planet known as Halos. Inside the round hall, leaders of many alien worlds gathered. Their voices were calm, their faces were still. But deep inside, tension filled the air. Everyone had heard about the return of the Hope Walker. Everyone knew the Sons of Earth were not just a story anymore. Earth's ambassador, Tommel, sat quietly at his seat. He watched the others speak. Some praised peace, some warned against fear. But most did not mention the ship at all. It was clear that many wanted the topic to disappear. When his turn came, Tommel stood. He placed a small disk on the table. A soft light rose, showing an image of the Hope Walker. Then a second image appeared, showing the hand-drawn map found inside. "This is real," Tommel said. "Our people died far beyond the stars. They fought something none of us truly understand. Their last messages spoke of shadows, not storms, not machines, but something that waits and watches. They were not the first. They may not be the last." The chamber fell silent. A tall alien with blue skin and silver eyes spoke slowly. "We have all lost people to the stars," he said. "Explorers, soldiers, even whole worlds. Space is not safe, but fear cannot guide us." Tommel nodded. "I agree, but silence is not the answer either. I ask only for truth. Did others among you know of this threat before we did?" No one answered. The council leader, a calm being with many eyes, stood and spoke. "Let us not fall into blame. The past is filled with danger. We look forward. We stay united." Tommel sat down, but his heart was heavy. The way they spoke was too smooth, too practiced. He was sure now. Some of them knew. They had always known. Back on Earth, quiet changes had begun. The Earth Assembly, a group of leaders and scientists, met in secret. They had seen the map. They had read the logs. And they had started to prepare. Military ships that once guarded only trade lanes were now patrolling deep space. Old space stations were being repaired. New weapons were being tested. None of this was spoken in public. But those who worked in space industries noticed the shift. Supplies moved in greater amounts. Engineers were hired in secret. Pilots trained longer hours. One of them was a young pilot named Naren. She had joined the space fleet 2 years ago. Until now, her job was simple: transport cargo and report pirate activity. But now, her missions were different. She flew in silence. She scanned empty systems. She logged strange signals. More than once, she saw shadows on her radar, brief flashes of movement, gone before she could follow. She told her commander, who only said, "Stay sharp, stay silent." Naren was not alone. Across the outer colonies, reports came in. Ships vanishing, messages delayed, energy signals rising in empty regions. But the public was told nothing. Life on Earth continued as normal. People shopped, studied, worked. Only a few knew what was really happening. In the labs on Mars, scientists worked on an old project called Scifi. It was a deep space tracking system once used to follow comets. Now it was being upgraded to track unknown movement between stars. One scientist, Rova, noticed something strange. A region of space once thought empty now showed regular activity, short, fast bursts of energy followed by silence. "These are not natural," Rova said to her team. "Someone is out there, moving, watching." Her report was sent to Earth. Assembly. Within hours, a scout ship was sent to the region. It never returned. At the same time, strange things began happening in the Council itself. A small moon near the edge of Council space suddenly shut down all communication. The Council sent ships to check. They found the moon empty. No people, no damage, just silence. Whispers began to grow. Some said an old enemy had returned. Others said the Council had made deals in the past. Deals they now regretted. Earth's ambassadors were now watched more closely. Every meeting they attended was followed by silence. Information became harder to find. Old allies became distant. It was clear to Tommel and others that the Council was hiding something. One night, Tommel received a secret message. It came from a secure line sent by a Council worker. The message was simple: "You are right." They knew. Some of them helped hide it. There are places you must not go. If you do, they will stop you. Attached was a list of coordinates. Most were empty systems. But one stood out. It was the same system marked in red on the Hope Walker's map. Earth now had proof. Proof that the threat was not just ancient, it was current, active, and closer than anyone wanted to admit. The Earth Assembly decided to act. Quietly, they prepared Project Roar. It was not just a defense system. It was a full rebuild of Earth's Space Force. New ships, new weapons, new command systems. Most important, it was hidden from the Council. Pilots like Naren were selected. Engineers like Zill were called back. Scientists like Rova were given full freedom to study. Slowly, a force was forming, not to attack, but to survive. Meanwhile, more logs from the Hope Walker were unlocked. One voice, from a young girl in the fleet, said, "My father said the stars are not empty. He said there are watchers, and if you look at them too long, they look back. I believe him now. I heard something last night. Not a sound, but a feeling, like someone stood outside the walls and listened to me breathe. The message ended, but her voice stayed in the minds of those who heard it. Back at the council, leaders continued to speak of peace, but Earth no longer trusted them fully. The silence was too loud now, the truth too heavy to hide. The sons of Earth had returned in silence. Their story had begun again. And while the council stayed quiet, Earth had started to listen, to watch, and to prepare, because they now understood something clear. The shadows had never left, and the silence was never empty. The stars looked peaceful from Earth. They sparkled in the night sky like they always had. But deep in space, where the light did not reach, things were changing. Earth's leaders knew now that the silence was not peace. It was a warning. In the halls of the Earth Assembly, plans moved forward. Project Roar was no longer just an idea. It had become real. A group of the best minds, pilots, and builders worked together to prepare for what might come. Commander Rico stood on the deck of the newly built warship Ironwind. She looked over the rows of young pilots and engineers who stood at attention. Many of them had never seen a real battle. Some had never left Earth's orbit. But all of them had chosen to join after hearing the story of the Hope Walker. That story had spread quietly across military bases and research stations. The forgotten sons of Earth had awakened something powerful. Not anger, not fear, but determination. Today, Rico said, we prepare not for war, but for survival. We do not know who the enemy is. We only know that silence hides them. We will not stay silent. We will watch. We will defend. And if the time comes, we will roar. The crew saluted. The Ironwind launched from the dry dock and joined a growing fleet near the dark side of the moon. There were 6 ships for now. Soon there would be more. Across the outer colonies, new defense systems were installed. Old satellites were reactivated. Mining outposts were reinforced with shields and alarms. In quiet labs on Mars and Jupiter's moons, scientists tested weapons based on old designs found in the Hope Walker's memory. Some were energy-based. Others were designed to track heat, sound, or movement. One special device called Echo Glass could record soundless waves in space. It picked up patterns too small for normal sensors. Rova, the scientist who worked on Iski, now led a team of researchers using Echo Glass to scan the star systems marked in red on the map. What they found surprised them. In 3 different systems, they found the same pattern. It was not noise, not a signal, just a repeated drop in energy, like a soft breath being taken in and held, then silence again. It is like something is waiting, Rova said, or listening. Back on Earth, Zill was now working with a group of engineers building deep-range probes. These probes were faster and smarter than any before. One of them, named Scout 3, was sent to the system where the lost moon had vanished. It never came. Back Scout 4 was sent next, but this time it sent back an image before disappearing. The image showed something strange. A shape in space. Not a planet. Not a ship. It had no lights, no engines. Just a large, smooth structure hanging in the dark. Analysis showed it was not natural. It had sharp edges and patterns. But there were no windows, no doors, no movement. It looked dead. But something about it felt wrong. Rova said it best. It looks like it is sleeping. More probes were sent. Some returned. Some didn't. The ones that came back brought images of empty planets with burned surfaces. Others found wreckage of old ships. Some human, some alien. No signs of battle. No fire. Just destruction without sound or warning. On the edge of Council space, strange things were happening too. Trade routes were being closed. A few small planets stopped responding. The Council said it was technical error. Earth no longer believed them. Ambassador Tommel received another secret message. It came with no name, only the symbol of a faded star. They are moving again. The Council knows. Some are trying to stop them. Others are too afraid. You must be ready. Tommel met with Earth Assembly. He showed them the message. Rico, Zil, Rova, and other project leaders were present. We have one choice, Rico said. We act now, or we wait until it is too late. They agreed to speed up Project Roar. The fleet would not hide anymore. Earth would show it was ready to defend itself. That decision came just in time. 2 weeks later, a cargo ship on its way to Mars sent a distress signal. It reported movement near an asteroid belt. Then silence. A military ship was sent to investigate. It found nothing but the remains of the cargo ship, cut clean in half. There were no signs of fire, no escape pods. No bodies. Naren, now part of a patrol team near the outer ring, received a new assignment. She and her squad were sent to escort a science team to a system marked on the Hope Walker's map. As they entered the system, her ship picked up movement. But it was too fast to track. Stay calm, her commander said. Record everything. Do not engage. They found an old human station, floating quietly. It had been lost years ago, marked as abandoned. The science team entered. Inside, they found signs of battle. Walls melted, equipment ripped apart. But no bodies. The logs had been erased except one file left on purpose. It was a message written by hand in old Earth language. We heard them. We saw nothing. They came with silence. We screamed, but no one heard us. The team returned to Earth. The message was added to the growing list of warnings. Now there was no doubt. The enemy was not just a fear. It was real. It was close. And it was watching. The Earth Assembly sent a new signal to the people. They did not speak of war. They did not name the enemy. They only said that Earth would stand ready, stronger than ever. People listened. Many remembered the faces on the Hope Walker. Some lit candles in windows. Others sent food and supplies to the fleet. Even children wrote letters to the pilots, calling them guardians of Earth. And across the stars, something else moved. Deep in the silent parts of space, far from any sun, an old machine opened its eye. It had no name. It had no voice. But it had memory. It remembered the sons of Earth. It remembered the scream of the last captain. It remembered the fire. Now it began to move again. But this time, Earth was not the same. This time, Earth was awake. This time, the silence would not go unanswered. The fleet around the moon was no longer small. New ships arrived every week. Earth's Space Force had grown faster than anyone expected. Every ship carried the silent promise of the Forgotten Sons. Every pilot knew that they were not alone. They carried a history heavier than stars. Commander Rico stood once again on the bridge of Ironwind. Her eyes scanned the vast black space ahead. The sensors had detected movement near the border of the marked systems. Movement different from anything seen before. It was not a ship, not a storm. It was something alive but strange. Report, Rico said calmly. Lieutenant Sola, her communications officer, spoke softly. We are picking up signals. Strange pulses of energy. They do not match any known technology. They come and go like waves in the dark. Rico nodded. Prepare the fleet for immediate movement. We are going to find out what waits in the shadows. Across Earth, the people watched the skies with new eyes. The news stations, carefully controlled by the Assembly, spoke of exploration and defense. They spoke of unity and strength. They did not mention fear. But in quiet homes, many remembered the faces on the Hope Walker. They whispered the names and stories and hoped that their sons, daughters, and friends in space were safe. Deep in the outer systems, the fleet moved faster than ever. The enemy had not made the first move, but it felt like a storm before the rain. The fleet's pilots trained harder. Engineers repaired damaged ships overnight. Scientists analyzed every signal, every pattern. Naren was among the pilots sent to scout the strange energy pulses. She flew her ship through empty fields of asteroids and broken satellites. Each time she saw the waves on her screen, her heart beat faster. This is not natural, she said during a meeting with other pilots. It is like the dark itself is alive. One night, as her ship drifted near a small moon, the sensors blinked red. A shadow moved fast, too fast to track. It passed close near the ship's hull. Naren looked outside. She saw nothing. No lights. No shape. Just the stars. But she felt eyes. Back on the Ironwind, Rico ordered the fleet to hold position. We wait for a sign. We do not chase shadows. We prepare to fight if we must. Days passed. The strange pulses continued. Then, a message came from a scout ship near one of the red-marked systems. We found a structure, the message said. Not natural. It is large. It looks like a ship, but not ours. It is silent, but alive. Rico ordered a small team to investigate. Naren was chosen for the mission. She would fly close to the unknown structure. They would try to find any sign of life or technology. As Naren's ship approached the dark shape, the sensors went wild. Energy spikes, strange signals. Her ship's shields flickered. The structure seemed to react. Suddenly, a voice came through her comms. It was not human. It was deep and calm, almost like a thought. You come. Why? Naren froze. She replied, carefully. We come in peace. We only want to know who you are. There was silence. Then the voice spoke again. We watch. We wait. You are children lost in dark. Your past is not forgotten. Naren's heart pounded. She told the fleet what she heard. The voice was not angry, not cruel, but full of quiet power. The Earth Assembly listened with mixed feelings. Could this be the Watchers from the Hope Walker logs? The enemies or protectors? They did not know. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Rova and Zill worked on new technology. They believed. The key to survival was understanding the Watchers. If they could speak or listen, they could learn. They created a device called the Whisperer, a translator of silent energy waves. When the Whisperer was activated near the strange structure, it began to produce sounds, soft, rhythmic pulses like a heartbeat. Slowly, patterns emerged. Words formed from energy. "They are alive," Rova said. "But different. They think in silence. They speak with waves." The council finally spoke again. They offered help, but Earth was no longer sure. Some council members wanted peace. Others wanted control. The divide grew. Earth decided to take control of its own fate. On the Iron Wind, Naren's team made a bold decision. They sent a small probe inside the structure. The probe found vast halls filled with strange machines. No signs of people. But the machines recorded history. The story of Watchers who had seen many fleets die, who had chosen to remain silent to protect balance. The Watchers were not enemies but guardians. They had seen the rise and fall of many races. They waited for those who would listen, those who would understand. Naren felt a new hope. Maybe Earth was not alone. Maybe the Watchers wanted peace. But they would test Earth's courage. As the fleet prepared to leave the structure, a final message came from the Watchers. "Your roar is heard. But the silence holds power. Choose your path. Stand strong, or be lost in shadow." Back on Earth, the Assembly heard the message. It was a warning and an invitation. They knew the fight for survival was only beginning. But the forgotten sons had returned. Their silence had broken, and Earth was ready to roar. The warning from the Watchers echoed through Earth's command centers. It was clear now. The silence held power, but so did Earth's spirit. The choice was theirs. Stand strong or be lost in shadow. Commander Rico stood before the fleet assembled near the dark edge of the marked systems. The ships were ready. The pilots were ready. Even the newest recruits knew the stakes. No one wanted war, but everyone prepared for it. "Today we speak for all of Earth," Rico said, her voice steady. "Our silence has ended. We will no longer hide. We will show the universe what it means to be the Forgotten Sons. We will roar." The fleet moved forward. Every ship's engines burned bright against the darkness. They moved toward the systems marked in red on the Hope Walker's map. The Watcher's domain. Naren flew at the front, her hands steady on the controls. Her mind remembered the quiet voice of the Watcher, the invitation, the warning. As they approached the first system, the fleet's sensors detected something new. A wave of energy, like a pulse, spread out from a hidden point. It grew stronger. It surrounded the fleet. "Shields up," Rico ordered. "Do not respond. Observe only." The energy formed shapes in space, shadows that moved and changed like smoke in the wind. Then a voice, deeper than before, came through the comms. "You come again. You choose roar. Why do you not stay silent?" Rico replied, "Because silence hides danger. Because Earth will no longer be forgotten." There was silence for a moment. Then the energy changed. The smoke-like shadows shifted to show images. Old battles, lost ships, faces of the Hope Walker crew. The Watchers had memories. "We remember you," the voice said. Your past is ours. Your future is uncertain. Prove your strength. Rico understood. This was a test, not a fight yet. The Watchers wanted to see Earth's courage. The fleet moved deeper into the system. They found a small moon covered in strange crystals that glowed softly. The crystals hummed with energy. Scientists believed they might be the key to the Watchers' power. Naren's team landed on the moon. They gathered samples and data. The crystals seemed to respond to human presence. They pulsed brighter when touched. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A hidden door opened in the moon's surface. The Watchers were revealing themselves. Inside, the explorers found an ancient hall filled with symbols. Walls told stories of the Watchers' duty to protect the balance of life in the galaxy. They were guardians, but also judges. Rico sent a message back to Earth. The Watchers are not enemies. They protect something greater. But they test us. We must be ready. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Assembly debated what to do next. Some wanted to try peace. Others wanted to build more weapons. The Council watched carefully, their silence growing heavier. The Watchers sent another message to Earth. Strength is not only power, it is wisdom. Choose wisely. Rico returned to her ship and addressed the fleet. We must learn from this. We will prepare, but we will not lose our hope. The fleet continued their journey through the red-marked systems. Each step brought new challenges, strange signals, unseen dangers, but also new discoveries. One day, Naren's ship was attacked by invisible forces. The fleet responded quickly. They used new weapons designed to reveal hidden threats. The attackers were revealed, not machines, not creatures, but shadows of energy, moving fast and smart. The battle was fierce. The fleet fought hard. Many ships were damaged, but Earth's pilots showed courage and skill. They pushed the shadows back. After the fight, the Watchers spoke again. Your roar is heard. Your spirit is strong. But the silence will always watch. Prepare for the next step. Earth understood. This was only the beginning. The forgotten sons of Earth had returned. Their silence had broken. Their roar was rising, and the galaxy was listening. The fleets of Earth were ready. The long wait was over. After months of quiet tension and small battles with shadow energy, the Watchers had made their challenge clear. Earth had to prove it was worthy, not only by power, but by spirit. Commander. Rico stood on the bridge of the Iron Wind. Her eyes scanned the stars ahead. The fleet was large now, stronger, more united than ever. The forgotten sons of Earth were no longer forgotten. They had returned. Their silence had broken. Now their roar would change the stars. We move forward, Rico said firmly. Not to fight, but to claim our place. The Watchers will see what it means to face Earth. The fleet advanced into the heart of the Watchers' domain. The strange shadows grew thicker, the energy pulses louder, but the pilots held their courage. Naren flew close to Rico, ready for any command. Suddenly, the dark energy swirled and formed shapes. The Watchers appeared, not as people, but as great shimmering beings made of light and shadow. They were beautiful and terrifying. Their voices spoke in waves that touched the mind without words. You have come far, they said. Your roar is strong. But can you hear the silence within? Rico replied, "We hear the silence, but we also hear hope, courage, and life. Earth will not be silent again." The Watchers studied the fleet. Then they tested Earth's strength. The stars themselves seemed to tremble as strange storms of energy swept across space. Ships shook, shields faltered, the fleet fought with everything it had. Naren's ship was hit, but stayed strong. Her hands moved with skill, her mind focused. She remembered the faces on the Hope Walker, the lessons of silence and roar. The battle was fierce. But Earth did not break. The fleet fought with heart and spirit. Slowly, the Watchers' storms weakened. After what seemed like hours, the Watchers' leader spoke. "You have shown strength. You have shown heart. The silence respects you." Rico answered, "Earth asks only to live in peace and to protect its future." The Watchers' light grew bright. They opened a path through the dark energy. "Then walk this path," they said. "Become guardians of your own fate. And remember, the silence is always near, but so is the roar." The fleet passed through the path. They found new stars, new worlds. The Watcher's domain was vast, but Earth had earned its place. Back on Earth, the people celebrated. The Forgotten Sons had returned, not with war, but with hope. Their silence had broken. Their roar had changed the stars. Commander Rico, Naren, Rova, and Zil stood before a new council of Earth's leaders. They spoke of unity, courage, and the future. "We are not alone," Rico said, "but we are ready. We will protect Earth, and all those who choose peace. Our roar is a promise." The story of the Forgotten Sons became legend, a story told in schools, homes, and space stations, a story of silence and roar, of courage and hope, and the stars watched quietly, knowing Earth had awakened, the silence would return someday. But next time, Earth would be ready.